What's up, everybody? My name is Dennis the Menace.
It's Young E.
And I'm Iris Vision. If you're tuning in, you must be thirsty. But don't worry, we're here to quench your thirst on
The
juice.
Tonight we have a very special guest in the building. He goes by the name of Reeshi The Alien.
Hey, yo. Hey. Finally made it. What's up? I think it's dope because we have Dennis the Menace and Iris the Vision and then Reeshi the Alien, you know?
Hey.
What's yours,
So
Omen.
my media is Omen Media.
Omen
So
Media.
yeah.
He's
yeah.
the dark, scary
But
one.
most of the time, like people just refer to me as like my last name, which is Reyes. So as usual, people call me
Omen. I'm sorry, I burped. Omen.
You're good. You're good. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something clever.
You could do the
one-
Esteban.
The one and only Omen
Omen.
One Kenobi, dude.
Hey.
There we go.
You know?
Hey,
Yeah.
The one and
Damn.
only.
that might have to be it. Every time I hear the Omen Juan Kenobi.
Whenever I
You
think of
heard it
Omen,
first.
I
You
think
heard
of
it
like
first.
demons.
So that's
Like
that's
like
my
a
reasoning.
rosary and like this thing, and then someone like doing this whole thing, and
I'm
Omen.
finding.
Yeah.
Like that whole
Well, there's a
shit.
scary movie called The Omen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
But
Was
that's
his
why I
name
like
was
it. 'Cause
Damien or
like
something?
people
Yeah.
refer to it as
I
like
would
a
never
scary
name my
thing,
child
but like it's
Damien.
not supposed to be a scary thing.
It's scary.
Like okay, so
Demon.
What's
the
a
word
good
omen,
omen?
the word omen is just
Like Pokemon.
like a moment that defines a good or bad.
I thought an
Okay.
omen was like when someone like kind of puts like negative energy
No.
on you.
Yeah,
So
I feel like-
it's good or bad.
Like, kinda
it's
like
good
a
or bad.
spell,
you
but
can have a
deeper
good
than that,
omen.
like
Like a good omen
religious.
is a rabbit's foot.
True.
You know, a bad
Well, then
omen
that's a
is
good
is
spell,
a black cat crossing your path. You know, so my whole thing is like they're both in front of us. You know, it's we get to choose whichever one we want to go down. I do like creepy stuff. I'm not gonna
There's
lie,
a
that's
old-
a lot.
J. Cole song called The Omen, and he talks about that where it's like, opposites.
Yeah.
He's like, what does he say? Damn, I'm trying. I used to
Like
memorize
extreme
the verse.
positive or extreme negative.
Right. And like honestly, like if you look at my
Oh,
media
I
stuff,
remember.
it's creepy, but
Never mind, I forgot.
but
I mean, there's a pull to like the whole dark, creepy aesthetic, you know. Like my audio engineer, he and like fellow, just collective member, he's into like the horrorcore type of rap shit and does like dark shit, but he's so sophisticated with it. He's like very like bars on bars of crazy shit, you know.
yeah.
Like it's just there's a whole pull to it, man. There's a whole like, and I don't know
Like
what
Billie Eilish, she's a bit kind of creepy, but
Right.
she has a big
like the spooky vibe.
fan base.
I
Yeah.
remember the first time I saw Rez, it was like 2019. I was at the Voodoo Festival in New Orleans, and like
Ooh.
it was like I was on
I always want to go to
acid,
that. Let's check
and
Damn.
yeah, it was the
I
third.
would not want to
in
do
New
that
New
out
Orleans.
there.
Yeah, it was the third day though, so
Mhm.
I like no, there's some crazy shit, but
You're
like
strong.
yeah, it was shitty. The group I was with, like they're cool people, don't get me wrong, but like they didn't want to do it, and I was like, well, I'm gonna do it regardless, right?
Yeah.
And it was the third day. The first 2 days.
Wait, but did they do it and then be like, "Fuck, I regret it," or did they? Just
No,
wanna
they-
do
no,
it?
I
Wait,
went
do
solo.
Do what like the festival?
no,
No,
do
no,
acid.
acid.
Fest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I decided like the third day, I was like, we've been drinking the first 2 days and smoking. I'm like, that's chill. But I'm out in
Take
New
it to the
Orleans.
next
Yeah, I
level.
want to have a good time. It's like my first festival too.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Like I want to see things.
yeah, and it was a
See some
Halloween
things.
festival.
Who
So
did you see there?
Did you see the
like,
cemetery?
no. But there was like the headliners were Post Malone Beck.
Damn.
and
Dang, that's crazy.
I forgot the other band.
I'm
I think it's
jelly.
Guns N' Roses. They were the ones. Yeah, so it was like them three.
Yeah, I know it's like usually a mesh of just like
Yeah,
rock,
no, there's a lot of
jazz.
shit, man. I
Yeah.
saw like the Little Giant. I saw Pink Sweats. I saw Denzel Curry. It was a
Yeah.
bunch of shit, like that's the cool thing about a festival is like
Yeah.
you just see everything, right? It's like everything you would listen to or you see online just presented at once.
Let's go to the next one and take videos of the whole thing.
We missed the
like,
Shack Fest,
cast
yo. Shack Fest
Oh, yeah,
just
he was in-
happened. Like fuck,
Fort Worth,
people like
Panther Island.
people are saying it was
Damn.
amazing. Like,
shout
they
out,
had a
shout
great
out to
time.
Shaq Diesel.
Shouts out Shaq Diesel.
Next time you come to Fort Worth, come on the juice.
Yeah, come on the juice.
Take care of you. Never mind.
Dude,
We'll take care of you.
Dude, Shaq
Tell me what
is
you were gonna
aged
say
so
later
well.
after.
Shaq is aged so well. That's like a
brand and figure.
Yeah,
like
like
he
a
hasn't
personality.
done any stupid shit either. That
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure he
He
has. But like,
has.
he has, but
And he
like,
comes from a different
not
era of
that
like you
bad.
can
he
do
also
shit
owns
and
up
still
to
get
the
away
shit.
with
Like
it
he
too.
doesn't like, Yeah.
I mean, he did say like Kobe how my ass tastes, you know, on like a whole like I think
But
he
then-
just went
but
and
then
wrapped
there's
that
that
up.
video
Okay,
of
but
them
there's
down
way
the-
worse stuff like dog fighting.
Rest in peace, Kobe. Though. That was like
Yeah.
way a different era, right?
Right.
You know,
For real, yeah.
I know they've got over this shit.
But dude, my favorite thing about Shaq is his thing with the auto insurance.
Shoulders.
His auto insurance thing. The General.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah.
Like his branding with the General.
Icy Hot too.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember the Icy Hot commercial.
Yeah, like well, so his whole thing with the General is that when he was a teenager and he just could barely afford a car, he could barely afford insurance at all. That was the only place that would give him cheap insurance.
Okay.
It was like they give you exactly what you need and they don't give you bullshit.
Damn, you're about
So
to make
he-
me switch.
so he
to
came
General
back-
right
so he-
now.
so he-
love. He did that
So like
out
when he
of love.
yeah, exactly. So that's
We're
what
not
he said when he
sponsored by
blew
the
up
General.
and he came back. He was like, I wanted to do it because like
Is that
it
the
helped me
General
out.
now?
Yeah.
Like a fucking commercial.
Have y'all seen the General's little penguin? Like their new little
Oh,
penguin?
They have a penguin
Yeah,
mascot
it's
now.
not just a general now. It's a
Damn,
penguin,
they're
too.
getting into the kid cuisine game.
That's Geico. They gotta have the
Damn.
animal.
I think it takes a person to know what a kid cuisine is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, but Shaq's a good dude though. Like I've seen videos of him just like, oh, I'm gonna pay these people's groceries or like.
Yeah.
Or just
for
like
sure.
shooting hoops out in the street.
He's
with
really
kids.
living life.
He says
really living
like
life.
I want to spend my money. He doesn't drink in public because he doesn't want to fuck up his shit for his family.
All right.
You know, he's very strategic.
That's smart.
You know, and he also
Yeah.
knows that he has such a surplus of money to use and to do that he tries to do just
I mean, if you think about like
have
when
fun
people
and do
say
things.
they're like, oh, this person's just doing side quests. Like, what the fuck? He threw a fucking bass festival.
Right,
Like,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like, he threw an EDM festival in Fort Worth,
Yeah.
I saw,
and he's a DJ.
he was
right?
at South
Shaq
Padre,
or
Diesel,
he's
yeah.
DJ Diesel.
He was down there DJing at South Padre that weekend. I had gone to go see Lil
Have
Wayne.
y'all seen him like actually DJ?
Nope.
So
But I hope he
seen
does the
videos.
shoulder thing
I've
while
seen
he's
videos.
doing
but does
it.
he actually DJ or does he like
No, he said in the,
he's a performer, right?
yeah, he
Like,
said in the
performs.
podcast that like I mean he knows how to like mix his
Like a
shit,
genie.
but he said that there's a person
I was
that
like, cause damn.
like actually does the producing and like mixing of the songs together. So really, he just goes up there and throws some effects and like you know.
See,
So there's a little
so
extra
that's
shit,
the whole
but-
thing.
Right.
Is that like
Lil Zest.
that's also
Yeah.
something that I appreciate is that if you're gonna
Little bit of
be-
magic.
if you're gonna be like that, he doesn't hide it. He's
Right,
just
no,
like,
yeah,
you're,
he
coming,
said-
you're
said
coming
it.
to a show, you're coming to enjoy it. Like it's Shaq who doesn't want to go enjoy Shaq.
Right.
you
It's
know?
not like you're like trying to go see a singer and then they're lip singing or some shit.
And then
you know, like,
10 years later, we find out like he never. Made
But
a
it kind of
single
is
song,
like
you know?
that, though.
it kind of is like that. Just
Yeah.
throwing your hands up.
Yeah.
Well, I know we were on the subject of names earlier. Tell us the significance behind yours.
Okay, so I go by Reeshi The Alien, and I guess like the alien part just came from like growing up in Texas as like a brown kid, especially like pre and post 9/11. It was just, especially in a small town. Like I'm from like South Forward. Y'all said South Forward. I'm southern, more southern than that.
Like Burleson Crowley?
Yeah, that border area,
Dang.
right? And
We're
so
from Cleveland, so
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
we
like
know about that.
yeah, so you know what that vibe is like, right? And so whenever I was in middle school and high school and shit, like I was the only brown kid in my class. And like I got the brunt of every type of joke and shit. But like so it was just a sense, and even before that, being in like elementary school and people talking about religion, right? Like I was raised Hindu. And then people would be like, oh, that's crazy. Like your gods have this many arms and an elephant head.
Yeah.
And then like I'm like, that is crazy.
They only
You know
saw
what
it
I'm
like
saying?
one
Like,
way growing up.
Yeah.
Especially around here, like it's just religion's just seen as like
Yeah.
Jesus on the cross.
Right.
Just
So
that way.
you know, you feel kind of like isolated from the classic American identity. But then I'd go to India, you know, on like quote unquote vacations. I hated going to India as a kid because it's just, I love, you know, getting to know my mom and my dad's like life growing up and like their culture and everything. But like if you're a kid and you're in America, you have air conditioning, you have like base minimal
Oh,
things
yeah.
that are like really dope. And then you go there and there's not that, and you're just like,
It's hot.
yeah, it's hot and it's like I fucking hate
But I
it.
bet it
you
made
know?
you appreciate it.
Oh, no, for
before.
sure.
Like when you got home,
Dude,
you were like,
me-
ah.
Me and my brothers and sister, my older brother and sister, would be so dramatic when we come back. We would just fall to the floor when we get home and be like, carpet,
Hug the
air
carpet.
conditioning.
For real,
It's
the AC
amazing.
would be my
You know?
thing.
It's like going to El Salvador. So our like we're half Mexican, half
Mhm.
Salvadorian. But same thing. Like I've gone over there twice, but I haven't been since I was little. But it was the same thing. Like
Yeah.
you go over there, it's hot. You shit in a fucking hole.
Yeah.
you
They're
take a
fun.
shower outside, but like it's not like your normal shower. It's cold water.
Yeah, it got
Where-
buckets.
Yeah, like they had to boil our water. We were like that.
No, they did that
Spoiled.
shit for us
Yeah,
too.
we're
They
that
straight up in
bougie.
India, like we were that bougie. We're like, I want
We're
to take
so
a hot shower,
spoiled.
and so they straight up would boil water for us, and we'd have to wait.
You know what's crazy, bro? I brought my PlayStation.
Yeah, no, we did the same shit.
Everybody was so like, psyched, oh my god, PlayStation. And like we go to hook it up to the TV, and they have like the RCA.
No, the
cable.
outlet.
That's
No.
why I'm laughing so hard.
They were
Yeah.
devastated. I was
Pointless.
like, man, I had John.
You risked it for
I had
nothing.
John the first.
Yeah, no, man. So y'all know about that, you know, like going to
Yeah.
like, and like it definitely humbled me and like it made me appreciate so much here, right?
Yeah.
But then when I'd go to India, I was the American, right? Like I didn't fit in over there. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not Indian when I get there. I'd be like, there's so much I'm used to that's not here.
Right.
And so it's just like you just feel kind of out of place everywhere, right? And then it grew beyond that. It was just beyond just like race and nationality. It just kind of got to like, I don't know, like I grew up around like a lot of people that were, I would say, toxically masculine and shit like that. And then I'm like, why am I not like that? You know, and like there's reasons
Yeah.
why. Obviously, as an adult, you understand and evaluate these things and you realize why you are the way you are. But at the time, it was just confusing. And like, you know, it was just that. Like, you just feel kind of different from people and you just feel like the mainstream of people and the majority thought sometimes this doesn't really apply. You know, you just don't connect with it.
Yeah.
Black
Oh,
sheep. That
yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And so that explains like the alien part, and then the Reeshi part. Like my real name is Rishi, which is Rishi, which is like the real way you'd pronounce it. But then growing up here, people say Reeshi. That's all, you know. So it's like that's what I'm used to. It's like all my homies, my friends would call me Rishi. So I'm like, if I'm making music for like an American audience, and like this is how the South says my name, you know, like
Right.
this is what I grew up into, and this is what like how I like I like my name being said that way, you know, because like
Yeah.
those are my friends who say that shit, you know, like
Yeah.
like my close family or Indian people will be like Rishi, right? Like they'll say it correctly, but everybody else is like Rishi, and I'm like, I fuck with that, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's pretty much the background of the name.
That's badass.
So,
That's something where it's like an unintentional nickname turns into like your
Yeah.
full name.
Right,
And
right.
then, yeah. I fuck
Well,
with that
my
too.
mom is like from Mexico, so I remember when I was a kid and seeing like I went through her purse one time and I saw her card that said
Damn.
Resident Alien. I didn't do it. I just wanted to see what like a woman's purse looked like, you know. So I
Okay.
see like
Yeah.
the shit like women should have in their purse. So when I had my
Hungry.
little purse, I would be like, let me get some cards in there.
Yeah.
Let me get, like,
You're just trying to learn
like that
game.
kind of
That's
stuff.
all it
Yeah, I
You
was
started
walking
stealing
around
gift
like
cards.
this.
Some real shit.
For real, I really wanted to take like gift cards from the store because I'm like, I want to have a card.
Oh, right.
But I remember seeing her Resident Alien card, and whenever I was a kid, I didn't really know what alien meant. I just knew like an outer space alien. So I was like,
it said that.
Alien. Yeah, it says like it would say Resident Alien or something like that. It would say
I thought it was
something
just
alien.
U.S. resident.
No, the
Yeah.
old ones I remember like it was like a green, like I think it was the green card, but it said like alien on it.
Yeah, alien
And
was
so I
like the
would be,
technical
like-
term for like
Like looking
immigrants
up at
and
the
shit,
stars
right?
every time, like.
Dude,
oh my
I
God,
feel
alien.
like, and we've talked about this before, but I feel like it definitely got really bad after 9/11.
Oh yeah, no, that was
Where-
like shit changed. Like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
most racist shit. Like it's funny because like the first mixtape I ever made way back, I was like super young. Like I made this mixtape called Aladdin in Wonderland, right? Because like before 9/11, the most
Damn, that's a
racist
badass
shit.
name.
It's cool. I liked it. You know, like Alice, Aladdin, like they kind of
Yeah.
have the same play, right? AL. But like the most racist shit that was said to me was like in first grade, there's this Filipino girl named Jasmine, and then people would call me Aladdin because I was Jasmine
Oh
Aladdin.
my God.
But I didn't give a fuck. You know, I was like, cool,
Yeah.
that's a Disney prince. You know, like
Yeah.
You're welcome.
he was a thief.
Like, fuck
You know,
y'all.
like
Yeah.
whatever. And I don't think Agrabah's a real place, right? So, but it's like, you know, like I said, I was the only brown person around a lot of people, especially post 9/11. Like
Yeah.
at first I was in elementary school, so those people knew me from the jump, right? So it wasn't so crazy. But then like you get to middle school, and then like, oh shit, I don't know some of these people. Then all the shit starts coming out, and like getting terrorist jokes and all that shit was like a daily thing. I
Ooh,
remember
damn.
I would be like walking around, like we'd be walking around our neighborhood, and like people just yell at me and my brother and my cousin, and they'd just be like, "Where's your beard, Osama?" type shit like that. And it's like at first, you know, I was a kid and I was like really sensitive to all of it. But then you just kind of grow a thick skin and you learn to laugh at it because it's like, one, that's not even my culture. Two, it's hilarious, you know, because it's like I am the one all man for brown people. You know, like I'll get all the hate. Like that's why that song Brown Boy
Like you can't
I
even
say-
explain.
I
That's
say
not
all
even
that.
where I'm from. Like
Right.
you don't even.
The song Brown
There's
Boy,
no
I say
point.
a lot of shit. Some of it is a little offensive, but it's like, I basically, it's an amalgamation of everything people have tied me to. And it's like, dude, I'm not even a spokesperson for this culture. Like, I can't tell you multiple things about Hinduism. I can't, like, because I tuned out a religion when I was 14. You know, because like I said, I grew up in a Christian society as a Hindu. They make you question your own religion. Then I just started questioning every religion,
Right.
you know, because it's
I was about
like,
to say, we're in Texas too.
yeah,
like,
yeah, it's the
everybody
Bible Belt. It's
is,
strict, you know. Like I
Yeah.
remember it was like 4th grade. I'm like doing sports and tutoring after school and shit, you know, because both my parents were working jobs, so I needed to do something. And it was like they said grace. I never experienced that before in my life. You know, like everybody held hands and they're
Never?
like, say grace. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? You know, like I've never done this.
That's like
But-
you.
Was this at a white family?
No, it's called sports and tutoring. So we just be after school with like some
Okay.
like high school students who are
In
running the
tutoring?
thing. Yeah. But it was, I guess there's some Christian, you know, maybe there was some type of, you know, church behind it or something. That
Well, I feel like
program.
the
sure-
Pledge
I'm
of
sure that-
Allegiance
yeah.
is kind of Christian too, because
Oh,
you
the
say
Pledge of
one
Allegiance
nation
isn't
under
Christian.
God.
That's just fucking.
That's government shit.
Yeah, that's
But
dystopian.
when you say like
yeah.
one nation under God, that ties
Oh, yeah,
the
yeah.
government to religion.
Right.
They
But
force
did,
us to
did
do.
they take that out though, or like?
Not that I.
Well, no,
Whenever
they
I
took
said
they
it,
took
they
out-
didn't.
They took out the one
One
nation under God.
under God.
Yeah,
Yeah,
They
be
took
more
that out.
inclusive.
Maybe that's
right?
why I started fucking it up.
Yeah,
but
I'm sure if they took that out, my life would be completely different. Not really. But yeah, Pledge of Allegiance was so normal to us, you know. And then we did the Texas Pledge of Allegiance too.
Yeah, and the flags fly at the same height
yeah,
too down
'cause
here.
I think Texas is a lot.
To other
that,
people, that's
right?
weird, but to
Yeah.
us, it's like normal.
Texas is the best, goddammit, you know.
INDEPENDENT.
but another thing that like was going around that
Texas.
time is just like South Park and Family Guy and all those were like
Oh,
doing
yeah.
a bunch of
Oh,
jokes. And
yeah.
they were
They
you would go
took
to
my
school
job,
the
that
next
whole-
day.
Oh, dude, the
And
amount
then
of
you would
times
hear
I
it.
got told Durka, like I would try to say something and people just write off whatever the fuck you're saying and it's just like Durka, you know, and it's just like fuck.
Yeah.
But it's cool because like you like I said, I learned to grow up with it because like there was one moment where like I think it was really like it was a deciding moment for me like in high school and it was 11th grade. My physics teacher called me a terrorist as a joke in front of the whole class. Like this is the teacher. It was like the moment where I learned like, oh shit, I can't even trust them. You know, like to be,
Yeah.
you know, careful with this shit. But it was, I just like was talking about I've been grounded for a month or some shit like that. And then he's like, oh, Reeshi's back to the streets, back to being a terrorist. And like the whole class just laughed. And like, I was like, wait, what? You know, like that's
That
kinda
makes it
fucked
even
up.
more
Yeah.
acceptable
Yeah.
for the other kids
Yeah,
your
exactly.
age to say that shit.
But there was a
Like,
moment where like, and then he was like, oh, I didn't mean it that way, blah, blah, blah. But like in my head, I'm like, dude, you're a grown man. You totally know what you
You
said.
have to, yeah, you have
He
to
Oh,
said
be
it
cautious
without
about what you
thinking.
say.
He said like his normal way,
Yeah.
and then he realized he was in front of the class.
But at that moment, I realized if I make a big deal out of this, people are gonna hate me. You know, like all these kids just laughed. They're gonna hate me. They like this teacher. You know, so I let it go. I was just like, fuck it. You know, like I just let it run off because I was just like, whatever. That's life. You know. And then as an adult, I grew up and I was like, yo, that was very fucked up. Like that was
Yeah.
kind of very shitty. Like, and I'm not gonna like dox this teacher or say anything like that. I'm just like, this is part of my experience growing up. It was just like something I had to acknowledge. Like, hey.
Right.
That was fucked up. And that like came from a figure of authority. So at that point, it's like, dude, I can't trust that. You know, like to be
Right.
at least just polite, or at least decent,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I didn't really say shit about it. I didn't really give a fuck. We just kind of let it slide and we let it go. Like because my dad raised me really passive. He was just like that was another thing that was
That's good,
super
though.
crazy. Like after 9/11, my uncle had this like big beard my whole life, like as a kid. And then like after 9/11, I just saw him shaved it. He had just a mustache, and I was like, what the fuck? It was like a baby would see like their dad without a
Yeah.
not that I was a baby, but it's still just like
I
jarring.
mean, it
was
always
like-
looks weird.
Yeah.
Your dad even has it for a year, then it's like,
Yeah. And honestly, it's the reason why, like, for a long time, I would clean shave my face every day. Like, because I just didn't want to, like, I always thought to myself as a kid, I was like, well, I want to be a good guy, quote unquote. I want to be presentable. Like, I want to be someone that no one's afraid of, right? Approachable, right? So, like, I would clean shave my face every day until, like, I think maybe 3 years ago, I was just like, fuck it, I'll just let my beard grow out. And I fuck with it. I think it's dope. And I was just like,
Yeah.
you know what? Why the hell have I been robbing myself of this dope aesthetic? Because
yeah, it's like a free
Bro,
spirit. It like
Yeah.
matches
He
a free
grows
spirit
it-
in
he
your
grows his
music
shit.
to me.
I can't grow it.
Man, some people are like that.
I'm
That's-
so
that's-
fucking jealous
it's
of it.
not-
I'm
yeah.
so fucking
Mine
jealous
grows
of it.
pretty well.
That's why I was kind of surprised at how long my beard grew, because like I just
That's
shaved it
good.
every day. I
That
never
shit
even
been
allowed
waiting
it.
to just
Yeah.
pop out.
Yeah, no, it was
especially when you're
way,
shaving
yeah.
it every day too. It's like
Yeah, but yeah, man.
I'm
Some
sitting over
people
here.
have like the
With
beard
the
genetics.
With the Arthur fist.
But
Pull out
yeah,
a razor.
you know, it's just kind of wild to think about all the things that affect you growing up, and you never really
For
think
real.
about it in the moment, you know.
right.
And so
You get numb to it after a while.
Yeah,
Especially
yeah,
when
right.
you're
exactly.
not-
That's why, like, I can make terrorist jokes now. Like, I laugh.
Yeah.
Like, my sense of humor is fucked
It's like dark
because I had to
humor.
like.
Dark humor. It's like you
Oh,
gotta
Exactly.
deal with it.
I had to
right?
deal with it. I
Time.
had to cope with it. You know, and plus I was
Right.
like the only brown kid, so it's like people can target my race, but if for the moment I target anybody else's race, it becomes a problem,
It's
right?
sensitive.
Like
Yeah.
they're like, "Well, what are you saying about this?"
Yeah.
Well, I'm like, "Shit, you just said some shit about me. Like, what the hell?" But you know, it humbles you. It makes you learn to like not give a fuck. You know,
Yeah,
because like at the
honestly,
end of
yeah.
the day,
True.
like I said, I'm not very Indian, and according to people here, they didn't think I was very American, but like I'm very American. You know, I think at the end of the day, I'm American as fuck.
That's the thing. It's like they think of you as ignorant, but really, it's like when you say shit or like and say anything racist, it's just like, dude, you sound so fucking.
Bro, like if
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
done your research on 9/11, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories here.
Yo, there's a
But
whole
where
mess
did the whole
there.
where did all that cash go and who made 9/11 really happen? Even though someone else got blamed for it, and you're over here blaming the people that were framed for it. Like you're being a mega hypocrite.
I mean, you can say
Insert,
like the
insert flame comments.
like
For
essentially,
real.
essentially the nationality,
Well, fuck it. No, it's do y'all's research on that shit.
the nationality of
Shit
the
was
people who hijacked the
fucked up.
planes does not
Fucked
line
up.
up with the people that we went and invaded. That's
right,
all I'm saying.
right.
There's a lot to that. There's layers to that too, you know. And that was like the first time too. I think that was a moment too, because like beyond 9/11, there was y'all ever watched that movie Zeitgeist or whatever? Like it was like it broke down like 9/11 was a fake, you know, and then it broke down like what the Federal Reserve was and how it's not even owned by the U.S. and like it was like the first conspiracy video I watched, and I was like 13, and I'm like, holy shit.
But even though
You know, YouTube?
Yeah, like
Okay,
they're,
so-
they're exposing
I
everything.
I probably watched it because
Yeah.
at that time I was really into pissing one of my buddies off. Because he
told me
was,
about this.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was like, I'm gonna be in the military. And at the
Oh,
time
shit.
we were too young to like obviously we couldn't enlist just yet. So at the time he like he's like, I'm gonna be in the military, and we're like
did you see what they did
we're
this
like,
time?
we're like,
No, but I do have
what's that
something
mean?
to
Like,
say.
you sure about that?
Even though like we can't prove the shit that happened, like a lot of people did lose their lives, so that's
Right.
like it was
No,
fucked
it's
up in
fucking
that way,
tragic.
like,
You know, like
I
that's
know
the thing.
so many
seen-
people
have you
just
seen
think of
like,
it
the
as
new generation
conspiracy
based on
now
it?
that you don't even like they just ignore like the tragic part of it. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shit
so
was
I don't want that to
traumatizing,
get
dude.
lost
Dude,
either.
yeah, I remember
The
people,
new
You have
generation.
to
like on the
respect
news,
that.
like well, on the American news, like you'd see like not so bad of it, but you'd see like they stopped showing the planes in the building at one point.
Yeah.
But you turn on the Mexican news, bro, you
Hell
see
no.
the people
you see
jumping
people
from the
hanging,
building.
like
Yeah.
all
I
kinds
was
of
just like,
crazy
oh my,
shit.
like that.
No,
Like,
that
I remember
was-
like going to like
Mhm.
leaving
Mexican
school, and
news
like
is
everyone's going
brutal.
home, and then going to like my house, and they're watching the news, and we flipped over the other news, and I was like, yo.
So
I
you were
didn't
in
know it
fourth
was that
grade.
serious.
Yeah, definitely. I was.
I
in-
was- I
Oh
was in
yeah, I was in
fourth
Yeah, I
fourth
was, I was
grade.
third.
Yeah,
I was second, I guess. 'cause-
that's
Damn.
the alarm for fourth grade. No, I'm kidding. But
That's
like,
that's a recess.
So we're like, we all have different viewpoints of it because at that age in life, like you think way different from year to year, you know.
yeah, no. And
What
so,
what was your like emotion that you remember?
well, so like, okay, so there's like multiple things. Like, first off, we knew something was up, right? And I
Yeah.
think the teachers were instructed to
Like
not.
everyone just freezes.
Yeah, like the teachers were freaking out. So we're just like, what the fuck's going on? And then like I remember my teacher came in, and she was like the most loved teacher we had. Like we would die for this teacher, you know. And
As a
she
kid,
oh for sure, dude.
yeah,
Yeah,
scrapping.
yeah, nah, yeah. I'll throw hands for this
Everybody. in
teacher.
class.
But like she was just a beloved teacher, you know. She was a real
Yeah.
sweetheart. Shout out Miss Crazy. But like she like came in, and she was in tears. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? You know, like all of
You
us.
came in from recess.
No. We were just chilling inside the room,
Okay.
you know, and like
We came in from recess.
yeah, and like she came in, she was in tears, and she was just like, I'm not supposed to say anything to y'all, but the World Trade Center just got attacked, and like you know, people lost their lives, and this and that, and we're all like, whoa, you know. But then in my head, I'm like,
What does that mean?
what is the World
Yeah.
Trade
What
Center?
if your parents
know,
didn't
like-
teach you about death either?
No, well, not even that. Like, I'm sure I was well aware of mortality at that point,
Yeah,
but it was also just like, I mean, you were in second grade, so that might have been different. But like,
I knew
I
about
was-
death,
yeah,
but some other people in my class didn't. So.
one of the jaded ones.
Pause.
Yeah. But yeah, like it was just in my head, like the World Trade Center was like this giant glass dome that had the World Trade going on in it. I don't know. I just thought it was like
Yeah,
some
I'm
massive
trading
important
Pokemon
building.
cards, like shit like
But then,
that.
Like whenever you
Yeah.
saw in a movie where there was just like
just
the
cubicles,
NASDAQ
and you're
just
like,
went up,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
type shit,
yeah.
like,
That was some like
yeah.
type of an international market
Yeah.
because it was World Trade Center. It
imagine
wasn't the
going through
US,
that
right?
shit as an adult,
Yeah,
like
but then,
actually knowing what it is.
like actually going home and seeing like the footage and like knowing the reality of it, like oh shit, like two of the tallest buildings in America just got fucking planes launched into them and they fell to the
Yeah.
ground. That was crazy, you know, like it was heavy. I was patriotic as fuck in that moment, you know, like we
Yeah.
like everybody was donating money to the shit, you know,
Oh,
like so
yeah.
we colored a flag and put it on the wall, like we like it was. I felt like I was like my country's been attacked, you know, like I
Right.
like it was.
Yeah,
You're a child, you know what I'm saying? Like you just feel like, and I feel like that's when like the '90s like officially died, right? Like
No,
it was,
for real.
yeah, like
It's like a whole different world after
yeah,
that.
yeah. It's
Whole
like
different
the
world.
charm and like the beauty of a lot of things just changed.
everyone
I will
was
say,
on edge.
everyone-
Like the
everyone
whole
was- yeah,
world was
everyone
on
was
edge.
hurt for a
Like you
long
weren't
time, yeah.
free anymore. Like everyone was looking at each other like, who's gonna act next? Like
Well,
that
honestly,
kind of
honestly,
shit.
like to your point earlier, where
That's
it's like
crazy.
so I grew up like one of the few Mexicans in like a suburban. I grew up in Ohio,
Okay,
so the same way where you were like, there was no one really like me around for a long time.
a little jump that just happened. But yeah, we were talking about something. I think Omen was just talking about being, you know, the only representation of his race in the suburbs and shit.
Yeah.
So
in Ohio.
in Ohio of all places.
Yeah, and he was in high school when he met someone else. But since he's no longer here for the moment,
Right.
Let's bring it back.
tell
to
us
the-
about your project that
Yeah.
you recently dropped and
Okay.
what that means to you.
Okay, so my album Alien, I dropped it back in February. And after that, I kind of took like a break from doing shows and a bunch of things because like this album has kind of been like, at least all the people who know me in this like immediate circle and like the shows that we've thrown and stuff throughout the years, they're like, when are you putting out music? Like, when are you putting out this music? And I'm like, in time, no worries. But like,
Yeah,
different things pop up that like slow you down and like make you really just take a moment to sit back. So yeah, there's like a sorry, pardon the burp. Like
that just happened to me. I just made a face because like I tried to stop it and
Yeah,
it
it was-
went through my nose and I'm like,
That's the
so
worst.
sorry. I'm so
You don't
sorry
see the
to the
face.
audience that just heard me burp into the mic. I think it was like the second time this
No,
podcast.
yeah.
So it's all
or
good.
just
though.
try some more of this.
Yeah,
You'll
we'll
be
be
good.
all right. We'll be all
You
right.
do a mega burp later.
Yeah. We'll do a competition. Who burps the loudest by the end of the podcast. But yeah, so like I would just be doing these shows, and like these shows, I didn't profit off of these shows. I'd more often than not lose money.
Were
on
you
them.
like getting the artist for it and finding the location and all that?
Yeah,
stuff?
no, I'd pay the venue fees.
Everything.
I'd pay for the DJ. I'd pay for a photographer. I'd pay for,
Damn.
and then the only thing is like all the artists I put on, like I wouldn't charge them anything. It would
You
it
just
was
wanted
all,
them to be heard.
Yeah, it was all out of love. It was like, hey,
That's all vibes right there.
yeah, like that's why I was like telling them earlier. I felt very Christ-like doing these shows because it's like I don't feel like that natural drive to make a profit, right? Especially at those
Yeah.
moments because these are all artists that are like vulnerable and like
I get that.
they
a
just
lot.
want to put their art out, you know, and we just want to perform and like see if this shit hits with people, see if people feel it, right? And like especially your hometown, right? Like that's why I kind of focused on shows in Fort Worth. I've done
Yeah.
shows in Arlington and
And
Dallas.
I
as
feel like
well,
at some
too,
point you
but-
feel like, okay, some people aren't as blessed as me and I can help in different ways. So
yeah,
that's what
no, I
drives
put
you
on
even more
artists that are
sometimes.
completely new artists that have like
Yeah.
probably nobody like listening to them, you know, and like because I was there, you know, and I'm not saying I have the big audience right now, but I know I have people that the next project I drop they're gonna tune in, right? And so this album was like just a moment of okay, I need to get all this shit out. Like now is the time. I think it was really like mid 2022 where I was like I had all the pieces lined up finally.
After COVID,
Yeah, after COVID, and that's the thing. COVID kind of like fucked everything up.
it did.
You know, because I was on this run of doing shows in 2019. Shouts out to like Dylan Elijah and Christian Wind and all these people that were there with me, Cam Doja, King Map, Jarrell, all of them. Like they're amazing talents that were doing these showcases with me. but then the pandemic hit, right? And like we had this DJ.
That really did fucking stop shit in its tracks.
Yeah, and I was just trying to be responsible, you know. I didn't want to like do things and create like quote unquote super spreader events or whatever. You know, I didn't know. I didn't want to be that motherfucker who caused issues, right? So I just I held off. And we had a DJ before that who was doing those shows with us in 2019. His name is DJ Laxwag, but he passed away in 2020. You know, we lost him essentially. It was fucked, you know, and that was something that made me be like, I don't want to drop music. I don't want to do shit right now, you know, because this sucks. Like that was our DJ, and he was just learning. He was a young kid, you know, put his heart into it. All the artists he showed love for, you know. One of the songs on the album was like his favorite song, for me at least. I'm gonna say his favorite song of all time or some shit, but like it's called "Drunk Somewhere, Texas," and that's like the song that like
that's one of my favorites from your album.
Yeah, and that's the song that everybody really connects with when I do it live. Like I always try to end my set with it because like in this local circle, like people really fuck with it. You know, like they really like hearing it, and I put a lot of emotion into the live
Texas
performance.
Too.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, he loved that song, and so like I changed up. Like if you listen to the SoundCloud version I dropped a while back, the ending there's just like a little ending bit that's different on the actual album where I say like, "Little bro, where'd you go?" And that could be an allusion to me because I am the youngest brother of my family, you know, and I've troubled them at times. But it was a dedication to him because it's like, you know, because like that was his favorite song, and like it just was fucked up, like losing him and shit, and like not being able to do more shows in the future, right? And
was that like one of your first like big losses in life, or like one of the
it wasn't one of my first, but it was like it hurt, you know, it still hurts. Like I think the first time I had a big loss was like when I was 19 and my friend passed away from an overdose, and yeah, it like caused me to get my first tattoo and stuff, right? So like there's a lot of heavy shit that happened, and like that's basically what stopped me from like dropping this album was like just different things were happening. Like even before that, like if it goes deeper than that, it's like me and Laxwag were honoring another friend who passed away. It was Dylan Elijah's younger brother, Kearns, and we threw a show literally that his parents were at, right? And I sang a very early version of Summer's Dead there, and it was very rough because it was like the first time I was doing it, and you know I made the song in honor of him, and then you know come to find out our DJ passes away who was at that show too, so it's like the song's like for both of them, it's for everybody. Like I've lost, you know, like all my friends.
That's why your music sounds so emotional too.
Yeah,
like,
there's
been a lot behind it.
Like literally, Summer's Dead's the song that's like about my friends who passed away. Like that's what that song was about. It was about like, hey, I need to make something. I think that's like the most incredible thing about artists is like even when you're like frustrated, you're sad, you're hurt, like you feel like there's no justice until you represent this somehow.
I was thinking about that earlier, like art, music, like that kind of art, like creative shit, like that's the most pure form of someone expressing themselves. Like you're putting out your like most raw emotions, like whether that be happiness or sadness, and a lot of people don't ever get to do that in life, like ever.
And that was like one of my goals. I was like, I always just wanted to put out one album that was like art. That was it, you know, like not that like when I dropped this album I was like, I don't know if this is it, I don't know if this is all I have, you know, like I was just questioning all these things, and like I dropped it, and then I got like such a good reaction, not just from the people that, you know, did shows with me and stuff and were happy the music was out, but it was more so that like on Twitter I gained this following of like mutual taste, right? Like Tyler the Creator fans, Kanye fans, Cudi fans, like Pharrell fans, Andre 3000, like I had this amalgamation of people that would probably fuck with my music, maybe, you know? And they were fucking with it, you know, like that, like people were like talking, they were just showing images of them listening to it, you know, they're talking about the songs and how they made them feel, and it got so much love, like just dropping it out of nowhere. I did a surprise drop, right? Because I was like, fuck it, you know, like I don't want to do promo, people know I've been working on something, so let me just put it out, right? And so I just dropped it whenever I used TuneCore. So like I finally, like they have like a whole 4-week delay, and I was ready to just drop the album then, but then I was like, all right, we'll drop it in February, I guess.
Damn, that's a long way.
Right, it was
all the hype, and you're still like every day walking around like, fuck, it's gonna drop in this many days. Marking the calendar.
But I did like a podcast with the homie back there, and like he was like, he kind of heard some of the songs and he was excited about it. So he kind of knew I was like dropping it soon. So he hit me up on Twitter. He's like, soon? And I'm like, soon, dude. No worries, soon. But then
What's my soon versus your soon?
Yeah. So-
My
Time
soon is
by.
30
Yeah.
minutes.
Oh no, my soon's like a couple weeks.
4 weeks.
Yeah.
For him, it was 4 weeks at the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was cool though. Like it got so much love, and I'm not saying it did numbers or it did amazing, right? Like I didn't expect to make any money off of this album, right? I thought like if I look at my TuneCore, cash out, it's like 0.03 cents or some shit, right? I didn't expect anything from this album, right? And like beyond all of that, but I just saw people were reacting to it and they showed love, and then like people were like, man, like, and then I realized we're in like a whole new era of like culture and like content. Like now just
Yeah.
dropping an album, that's not enough. You gotta drop more shit. You gotta do something. You gotta be a
Visuals.
streamer. You gotta be a streamer or something. Like be in communication with these people.
I love seeing like little videos on Spotify. Like I
Yeah.
always use Spotify, so like the artists make their own videos. If you click the background, it's like the shortest little music video.
Just
You
like-
know?
You just
Apple
Spotify?
Music started doing that.
Oh,
Hell
when?
yeah,
Because
shouts out.
Spotify's been doing it for like years now.
Hey, I'm kind of. I'm an idiot and I've subscribed to both. But like,
Well, no, you're
not
smart.
idiot,
You're
not
smart
idiot,
for
you're
doing
smart.
the
You're smart
Spotify
because
part of it.
What you're doing is that you're taking a bite out of like the big chain, which is Apple.
Or
What?
Spotify.
This is what happens. He tries to tell me how much.
I don't remember when
better,
Pandora was
but
popular.
what he tells
shit.
me is
My
that
album's on
like, is that
Pandora,
like, hey, Apple's doing this now, and it's just things that Spotify has already been doing.
I know.
Right.
That's how I
Well,
feel about iPhones with
well, I was gonna say, it's
them
like- yeah, it's
trying to
like
copy
Androids,
Android
yeah.
shit.
Android's been doing
A lot.
way
Guess
more
what?
plays.
Y'all are about to get USB
Okay,
Type
so
C.
the biggest
Guess
di-
how
the
long
biggest
Android
difference
is at
between
it for?
Android
I honestly hate the
and
fucking lightning
Apple
charger.
But-
It's
is
so
it
annoying.
like
You know what's annoying when every fucking person has an iPhone and you're the only one with an Android and you're
Oh,
like,
shit,
anyone have
yeah,
a charger?
that's tough.
And then they all look at you like,
Hey, with the new
Not
iPhones,
for
that's
you.
literally
Yeah.
everyone right now.
Yeah.
But guess what?
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
what she
make
was
that
saying.
face
And
to
this
y'all
one-
now. I'm making that face
Yeah.
to all of you. Y'all are gonna ask me for a charger. Guess what? I got 10 Android chargers, but none with me today. when my phone's dead.
I don't bring it because I
But-
know y'all not gonna take.
But
care
it's
of
like LeBron versus like a new rookie, Like, LeBron's going to a new team, he's gonna be better now.
Does anybody else need a
But
beverage?
this guy's like doing
I'm good.
way,
I'm good. I'm
way
good.
better than him, but everyone's
Right.
still looking at
Dennis.
LeBron,
Omen.
It's the same shit.
I'm good for now. Yeah, but
Yeah, I don't know what led us to the whole Apple Spotify debate.
I mean, we argue about it. No, it's not.
It was bound to happen.
Because he
Yeah.
wants me to go to Spotify. I'm like, dude, I'm good with Apple.
Yeah,
He's
I was
not-
always been an
the
Apple
thing-
head
the thing-
person.
the
Like,
thing is that,
because I've
like-
had an Apple phone, so I always had
Right.
Apple Music.
Okay,
Well,
so
I
here-
had iTunes
wait,
back
wait,
in the day.
here's a good-
Bert,
here's a good question.
taking music from the internet.
Let's
putting it
go.
on your
Let's
iTunes.
go.
You started off with Apple.
No, I was like, if I was talking about when I was a kid, like 13 and shit, I was doing LimeWire. I was giving my
Okay,
computer
yeah.
viruses.
So
and
which
shit.
one did you
Yeah.
have for
I did.
first? Apple Music or Spotify?
Apple Music for sure.
Okay, that's my point. Why'd you get Spotify?
I don't know. I think I got Spotify because I was just like, people said it was better. So I was like, well, let me see. And then they had like the year.
How long
end of
ago?
the
How
year
long
raps and all
ago was that?
stuff.
How long ago was that?
Maybe 2 years, 3 years ago.
You kept it.
Oh, I'm
Why-
an
why'd
idiot
you-
because
why'd you-
because like I don't know. like, Now that my album's out, I'm like every platform. I'm like I feel kind of like an asshole if I don't subscribe, right? Like, but then again,
If you don't
it's like-
support the beast,
right,
with
right.
ETA, yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like they'd be like, oh, why'd you like maybe Apple
Right.
potentially wants to do something with you in the future. It's like, well, you were subscribed to Spotify for so
We'll
long,
look at your receipts.
Yeah,
fair
fuck
enough.
you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
and that's
Yeah,
stupid.
what
That's a
is-
very dumb take. Like it's a very unreasonable.
Right.
Like,
But it's fair. It's
take,
fair.
but-
It's fair.
Yeah, 'cause
so,
the company
what,
in my head-
what it is, is
In
that
my
you're
head
looking-
canon,
you're
they're paying
looking at-
attention to
yeah,
what
you're
I'm
looking-
doing.
and
so.
they will. They will. They absolutely will. They absolutely will. So maybe you're not the person to ask which one's better.
Yeah.
I'll
it's
tell
tough.
you which one's better real quick. Spotify.
It's Spotify.
Oof. All right,
Spotify.
Spotify gang.
It's the same shit. It's all the
No,
same.
it's
not
not
the
the
same
same
shit.
shit.
People do.
Okay,
Artists do bigger
Spotify.
numbers on YouTube. and there's-
Listen to me.
That's a whole nother beast right there.
If you're actually listening to Spotify,
The
like
hood
for
supports
TikTok is
YouTube.
the whole
TikTok's
day,
fucking scary.
The hood
Spotify.
supports YouTube.
whenever your album ends for the song you're listening to and then it has to go on its radio, that's whenever Spotify matters. Because when you do Spotify radio compared to Apple radio, y'all repeat so much shit. And Spotify radio
I
will
think
show
it's
you
getting
the
better.
touch
Think
Apple
it's
Radio.
best.
I'm a
Artist.
The
weirdo,
fact
though.
that you have to
might
say it's
never
been getting
heard.
better, that's my point.
Like, yeah.
It's been getting better.
And I'll say ours has
means that
been the
it's not
best.
good.
I don't don't care.
Alright. But you know, I show love to Spotify, show love
Okay.
to Apple Music.
Which one do you
I'll
get
say-
more?
I'll say- I'll
He
say
wants to
this.
be.
Listen,
Let's
I'll say
not
this.
put the pressure on him.
Wait,
He
wait,
wants to-
I'll say
wait.
this.
He needs
No.
I'll
to-
say this.
I'm not gonna do by opinions right now.
I'll say
Do
this.
you
Wait,
get
wait.
more listens on Spotify
No,
or
don't hit him
Apple?
with that. No, don't. No.
Just
I
which
know
one's
the
more
answer.
listens?
It's,
I'm sure.
it's Spotify. That's where I get more views on Spotify.
Damn.
Because
But I do have some people
Well-
on Apple Music holding it down.
Some
Wait.
people, yeah,
I was
but
gonna say this. Apple's for grown-ups, Spotify's for kids.
Okay.
Like,
Bro,
they
don't say
curate
that.
shit.
No,
They give
no,
shit
no.
to you. Like, here you
No.
go.
mm-mm.
Real
No,
music fans know what's
Spotify-
up. Real music know. Real
okay, I would
music
say
fans
I
know
would
what's
say
up.
I would say Spotify.
How can you say this when
Spotify-
Apple's trying to
Spotify
copy
is like the
everything?
grown
Spotify's
man.
done like a kid trying to copy a parent.
Spotify is like the grownman.com.
Exactly.
Exactly. Who's the kid? Apple.
Exactly, but they're doing better.
Mm.
I will say, I think there was at one point that like Apple touted that had better quality of sound, and then now they have like the Dolby surround thing, but that also fucks up
Okay.
some songs too. I've
Yeah.
seen it like also fucks up some songs, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't.
No one wants
Honestly,
to.
I don't
No
care.
one wants to hear.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't care.
Yeah, of course you don't care now.
I'm just
Now you
old
don't
man,
care.
still supporting iTunes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I want that feel.
Where's the cane?
I'm just saying,
What's up with it?
I saw some bamboo canes in your bathroom.
as long as
I want
those,
to whack someone with it.
as
Those-
long as
those
those
aren't mine,
services
man. I
are
don't
still
know what you're
going,
talking
you know.
about.
I think it's just dope that like even in the sense that like we're like that. We're the people that grew up with. We had access to everything. We didn't have to
Yeah.
just listen to the
Actually,
radio,
we fucking
right?
illegally downloaded.
Yeah, no, that's
shit.
what I was.
But
just
we
talking
were
about
underage, so
LimeWire.
it doesn't
Would you
count.
rather steal a car?
You wouldn't
BMP3.
download a
Yeah.
car.
Is that what
you
it
know?
was? Is that what it was?
BMP3.
If
Steal
you were,
a
if you were
house.
under if you were underage downloading MP3s.
Well,
I mean,
it wasn't
overage,
as you weren't as
underage.
prosecuted.
I heard somebody
Piracy
like
is a
actually
crime.
got like
Yeah.
arrested.
Yeah,
I thought it was like
piracy.
being a pirate, like
Yeah.
being,
At some point-
dressing up as a
yeah, at
pirate
some
and
point I
stealing
saw all
people's
the
I mean,
stuff.
technically,
The juice.
goods from like
Yeah.
True.
like industry, like you're stealing shit from them. But yeah, it was that era where we could listen, we could make our own playlist, right?
I would have
So
called it
the radio
cyber
kinda
theft.
just
Or
died.
burn your CD.
You
Yeah.
remember when things were
Burning
called the dirty
CDs.
version?
Yeah, the dirty
The
version.
Walkman.
And you can only do that on iTunes. Burn
Walkman.
CDs.
Y'all remember the little Sony
No,
Walkman?
it's
Dude,
not-
I
it's not-
fucked
it's not
up.
an iTunes
On my
exclusive
album,
thing that you can only burn.
The song
CDs.
Pink and Blue. The song Pink and Blue, it doesn't have an explicit tag, but I say fuck at the end. Because like there's like a part at the end of the song where like I dropped my can. I was literally drinking
That's
a
one
White
of my
Claw
favorite
Surge.
songs.
Yeah, and like I kept it in. Like basically what happens at the end of the song is like we're like listening to it. I accidentally dropped my can, and I was like, oh shit, fuck, and I just start laughing. But then we heard it back, and I was like, keep that in, man, because it's such an emotional ass song that like just brightened it up. And then
Yeah.
it going into like that last song, you know, Let's Make It Easy, where it's just like super 80s, Tears for Fears inspired, and like trying to be uplifting. To me, it was like the way to like kind of break out of that sadness and like just trying to at least end on a good note. You know, like when you have a good movie, you want to have like a happy ending. You know,
So let me ask you.
I don't know about
when
the
I,
happy
when I was
ending.
listening to
sometimes,
the album,
I mean,
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
what okay, so when I was listening to it, my biggest question, I was like, okay, so what is your like target audience, or do you have that? And I asked him earlier, I was like, is it rude to ask him that? Because like when I heard it, I was like, okay, you know what, I hear it for what it is and I enjoy it, but I'm also someone who like
Tries to enjoy every kind of music.
well, I do like
I do
like
too.
I like appreciate things for what it is.
right.
Like,
Because so
you don't hear one part and just be like, no, I'm done with this. Like you will be like, no, I don't like this part, but let me keep listening.
But I also know that like I have like a taste for music that like there's a shit ton of people who hate
Yeah.
it, and there's also like projects from artists that like I really love, but I like this one project from them and I don't like the rest. You know, so
Yeah.
so when I was listening to it, I was like, you know what, like this is very experimental. It's very like synthesizey. It's very moody. It was very like it was heavy. It felt like a blanket that was like being casted over me.
Right.
So I was like, so who is this for? Is it for the average listener?
To
or
me,
is
it
for-
reminds me of like a Kid See Ghost or like Joji. Like, have you heard?
Yeah.
Like, but I love both of those. Like, I can just sit
Right.
there and just like zone out and hear
I
that
literally
music all day
have-
long.
I literally have a Kid See Ghost tattoo.
Really?
As you
I
should.
should,
As
though.
you should.
But yeah, right there, it's them two performing at Camp Flog Gnaw.
Damn.
So in that little glass box that
That's
they were
badass.
in. Yeah. I love them. They're part of my inspirations, right? So
Yes.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so Kid See Ghost is a great, cool. Joji's dope as fuck. I haven't listened to much of his music, but I get what he's doing.
Go to his
Yeah.
old music.
Okay, if I check it out.
Dancing.
what
What
I'll
is
say-
it called? Dancing in the dark. Or
No.
I love
what
that
it's
song,
called.
yeah.
Older. Go to his
I
mixtape.
love that song so much.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like my target demographic is just people who feel music the way I feel it, right? Like to
Yeah.
me, music has done so much to help me when I was young. Like, there's a lot of times where I felt alone. I thought I had good friends, but they turned out to be shitty. So then I would just start smoking weed by myself, and like I'd listen to Kid Cudi, I'd listen to Kanye West, and like you'd feel like not alone. You'd feel like, oh, this is the vibe. Like this, they
Yeah.
actually understand what the fuck is going on.
They
Also,
go through the same
Right.
shit.
I feel like Kanye is more like an ego-driven thing, but like Cudi's more of the heart. It was just more like what I vibe with a lot. Like,
You know what I think? Like why they work so well together is so.
They're
and they both say-
opposites. They're
when they both
polar
say it,
opposites.
Yeah.
So Kanye says is that like when you're down in the dust, like down in the dumps, I'm your shot of espresso.
Yeah.
That's what he is. Is that like I don't listen to Kanye to be down in the dumps.
right.
I listen to Kanye when I'm like I need
Pinocchio
someone
story.
to I need
Yeah,
someone to tell me I'm
has
on
some-
my shit.
Yeah, he has some sad ass songs
He
too,
does,
you know,
but
but
they
like,
also
I like
yeah.
both. I like the down in
Yeah.
the dumps and the hyped up
Yeah.
shit.
But
I
Kid
think
Cudi does the exact
Pinocchio
opposite.
story,
Kid
the whole
Cudi,
808s and heartbreaks, like that shit.
yeah.
It's
yeah.
kind of down in the dumps to me.
it is, but
Even
it's
Donda,
his way of
if you
like.
listen
It's
Donda,
to me,
that's-
it's like you're
that's
sad
the
as
whole thing,
fuck,
the
but
voice
you're
out
living
without
life.
family.
Without
And still
808s, we
speaking
have no
about his
con-
mom.
we have no
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because of the name, right? Like,
Right.
it just, I think it's like him imagining, like, what if,
Oh, I fucking
like,
love
my mom
Donda.
saw what was going on right now.
Yeah.
You know, like, I'm losing my family,
Yeah.
I'm losing all this shit, and it
She's
hurts.
speaking in it, like she literally
Yeah,
speaks in it.
no, like
multiple
Donda's like
times,
a,
so.
to me, like, that was great.
The
Don-
song Moon, oh my god,
Yeah,
that
beautiful.
song.
That's something I always do that to my audio engineer. I'll send them like voice messages. I'm like, "Don't leave so soon." You know, like,
Yes,
and so,
I fucking love that song.
so like, yeah, like, but like to me, like though when I was young, like Cudi, even I love Cudi. I love every album of Cudi. Like I don't give a shit. Speeding Bulls to Heaven.
But what like
um,
rock music did you listen to? Because I know you had to listen to something.
No,
around
okay,
here.
so all right.
or
if you
like
look-
not even rock, alternative. Like,
yeah,
some
yeah,
shit
no.
like
When
that.
I was like younger, so this is pre, I would say before I listened to Kanye Heavy and Cudi and all of them. I was listening to like Linkin Park, Chevelle,
Oh, I love Linkin
um,
Park.
Nickelback. Why not? You know, like
Nickelback.
you have to show love. If you
Why are
watch,
people so ashamed to say that they like Linkin
It's
Park?
Because
just-
everyone hated
no,
them
Linkin
for like
Park, no.
2 years.
I'll say I love Linkin
No,
Park.
Nickelback.
But-
Nickelback is the
Nickel-
one.
But okay, so there's Nickelback.
Creed is another one where you're like,
Nickelback,
Yeah.
Creed,
You know.
and even Linkin Park gets they get the hate where like, oh, you like them.
No, I've never heard anyone diss
Okay, go to
Linkin
Ohio,
Park.
go to
Linkin
Ohio,
Park.
No,
go to
Linkin
Ohio,
Park,
like,
we-
there's
Linkin
like
Park
that,
in
like,
Texas
there was.
is
I get
top
what you're
notch.
saying. There was a point where people,
Where
I
it's
think
like
it's
so
back then
cliche.
though,
People think it's so
where
cliche,
people
but
were like,
it's
it's not
That,
rap,
that
it's not
genre
rap.
was like
Yeah.
dying, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's like
Okay.
dad. That's like dad
Right.
rock. That's
I
like
think
dad
I
Right,
know
right.
rock.
the
Fair
one
enough.
weird time
I
where
never
I
heard that
thought
term,
Linkin
that makes
Park
sense.
was
Now it's
weird
like dad rap. Really.
was when they
Chance the Rapper's dad
partnered.
rap. Like,
Oh
Nah.
shit! Acid rap is dead rap.
When they made that song with
not
Jay
acid
Z,
rap. His new
Yeah.
album.
Jay Z
Yeah.
and Linkin
It's a
Park,
gospel one.
that was a
Right.
bit weird to me.
You didn't like that fusion?
I
Which
don't
one?
think I like the Jay Z Linkin Park.
That was,
I
You know,
had
it's
that,
a
I had that on
moment.
DVD.
That was a moment.
I had that
I
on
don't
DVD.
know.
That was a
Encore-
moment for the
Encore-
culture.
the
I'm gonna
Encore
say
shit,
that right
I
now.
had that on DVD.
You have one of the biggest
I
names in rap
like
acknowledging
what
Linkin
they
Park, which was
did,
amazing.
but also
You gotta re-listen to it.
like,
You gotta listen to that shit. I think you just
He's
don't
I,
like
saying-
Jay
just,
Z.
I,
He's
I don't
saying-
like Jay Z. That's
he's
what it
saying
is.
you
I don't
listen-
fuck with
no,
Jay Z.
You know what? So
People
let
say
me say
I don't like
Absolutely.
Jay Z.
I-
If it was
Jay-
anybody
I
else,
think Jay Z's amazing, but
This is gonna be a
also-
controversial.
But
thing.
it took me a while to really
Controversial.
understand Jay Z
I
because
just
I was
said
a
something
child when Jay Z was
controversial.
popping,
You
I
right?
just like the
You did.
Pharrell shit with
Your
Jay Z.
turn.
Oh, Frontin's
Yeah.
amazing, bro.
Right.
That's a classic.
Front exchange.
I
shit.
think-
What-
Yeah.
Ooh,
I think-
just from-
I think women
Yeah.
don't like Jay Z.
What?
Okay.
Honestly, yeah.
You don't like Jay Z?
So
I'll tell you
no,
why I don't
love
like
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z.
Okay.
Except
So-
for Beyonce.
No.
Oh.
So I'm gonna say.
Oh
I'm
my
gonna say
god.
maybe not most women, but like there's a good population of people who like, and I would say it's like women. They don't like Jay Z.
No.
I don't like Jay-Z.
Even guys though.
I feel like
No,
if
no,
you
no,
go to New
it's
York,
like-
if you go to New
no,
York,
but
there's,
like-
I bet there's a lot of women that love Jay-Z.
Oh
No, I know that, but what I'm saying is that
Okay.
like,
Lil Mama-
so
Lil
what I'm
Mama-
saying is that like, there's
Instead of
there's like a
Jay-Z,
natural
I
man.
liked 50 Cent and Eminem
Oh,
instead
shit.
of Jay-Z.
Okay, now we
That's
see the
who
root
I
of the
fucked
problem
with.
here.
So
No,
so
That's who I fucked with instead of Jay-Z at that
But
time.
who's like the one to look up to? Jay-Z.
Nah.
But
You know
that's
what's
the thing,
funny
that's
about
the thing,
50 Cent?
a lot of those people will say that like Jay-Z wasn't the guy.
Maybe he was technically
But they also
right.
say that like
Maybe he was
Eminem
technically
wasn't the guy,
good,
and 50 Cent
but
wasn't the
as
guy.
far as
He's richer than all of
popularity and keeping his popularity, no.
He's still relevant as fuck though.
I didn't say he's not relevant, but he's not as popular. Eminem's still more popular than Jay-Z is now.
I will. Okay, this is gonna be my take. This is a rare take I
wouldn't
have
say
about
popular
Jay-Z.
for the right reasons.
My rare take about Jay-Z, because I'm an adult now, and I respect
Yeah.
Jay-Z.
Mhm.
All right, but there was a point where I was an unhinged ass stan on Kanye Tilla back in the day when I was a kid, right?
Right.
And I wasn't a big Jay-Z fan.
Yeah.
I was more of a Ye fan,
I love
right?
Kanye.
Same.
Yeah. And then I went on
love
a rant,
Kanye.
and I will say there's some validity to this. Jay-Z's relevancy got carried by Ye through his popularity later on, right? Like
I can agree with that.
Watch
Yeah.
the Throne, that shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
like-
Watch
yeah.
the Throne.
It's like it was like
Jesus, yeah.
yeah, like that was like it allowed Jay-Z to pop off in an era where maybe his normal albums wouldn't pop and hit so hard, right?
You think they
Yeah.
have like an Eminem and 50 Cent vibe?
But they're
a
like not
relationship?
cool anymore.
Well, no, there's a lot of shit that happens.
Jay-Z
That's
and
what
But
Ye.
what I'm
Shit.
saying is that like at that time, so Eminem and 50 Cent are like it's known they are stands of each other.
Yeah.
Like they
Right.
would support each other through anything. But at that
Mhm.
time, you know, so 50 Cent will say,
Wait,
like-
what if we compare Jay-Z to Dr. Dre?
so that's what 50 Cent says. Is that like 50 Cent will say,
We're comparing the wrong levels.
Well, it's
right
because
now.
But
they're
50
old
Cent
heads.
says-
Like,
50
you
Cent
think about
says that
Jay-Z,
Eminem-
like popped off in the 80s. Like
Right.
he started off in the 80s.
Like yeah,
And
90s,
what
early
other
90s. I would say
80s
he
rapper
popped
do
off
y'all
heavy.
know that's as popular as
No, like
Jay-Z
late
right
80s,
now?
late 80s.
I feel like Reasonable Doubt was like early
did-
90s.
No, he
yeah,
he,
but he didn't pop off of the
No, he was in a group. Like he was in a like actual rapper.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
He wasn't Jay-Z yet, but he was still like he was,
He was
well
just
known
he
in
was
New
just
York.
I think we
Timberlake.
might
He
also
was
know,
just
like,
Timberlake
Our
at that time.
South Texas like kind of rappers, but compared to Jay-Z,
Maybe
might
one of
not
the
be
other
anybody,
NSYNC guys.
like that, you
They
know?
didn't really
Yeah.
know
Well,
about
I say
that.
that. I
I mean,
say
I
that
show
because,
love to
like,
Chameleonaire
Ryan Gosling.
and, like-
He was-
So that's a South Texas.
Yeah, we're
that's
just
what I'm
Texans. Like
saying.
Ryan
Slim Thug is
Gosling
one of my
on
favorite
the
rappers early in the
Yeah.
day. Like
Yeah, exactly.
where
Yeah.
it's like no one knew of him yet, but like
Right,
Look
but
at
he's
him
still
now.
relevant. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
like,
Look at
okay,
it.
so-
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
so
Yeah.
Jay-Z in the 80s is Ryan Gosling
okay.
during
Okay.
Disney time, where it's like
All right.
no one
all right.
quite knew about them, but it was like they were there.
The silent
You know,
but
some
deadly
scouts-
killers.
Some scouts knew about them, you know.
Yeah.
So
Almost.
But yeah, so basically going back to like the target audience for my
We
music.
got way off
That
track.
was a me.
No, it needed to happen. You know,
Esteban,
we mentioned
you got fucked up.
yeah, we mentioned Kids See Ghosts. It's gonna go into that lane, right? But yeah, like Frank Ocean fans, those people. Like I feel like there's
That's
like
what you were describing, that fuck. That's what that reminds me of, because there's one song where he's like at the end he's just like said fuck, and then you can hear the fucking drums fall over and there's like a dog that barks.
yeah. I feel like that's
I don't forget that part.
what song is that? It's fuck. I know it's off of Blonde, right?
I think
Probably.
so, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it Nights?
Yes,
No.
I
I don't think
is.
it's Nights.
I think
It's
it
like,
is
I
at the end of
broke
the
your
night.
heart
Nikes?
last week. You
Nikes?
probably done.
Feel better by the
Weekend,
weekend.
Is that
Without
Ivy?
you going It
I
is
thought that I
Ivy.
was dreaming when you said
Yes.
you loved me. Yeah.
That song at the
Yeah,
end of
that
it.
song goes hard. But no, yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, that's probably one of the reasons why I wanted to keep it in, because it's like, that's like my shit. It's like, it's all the shit that I love growing up in music. Even like Linkin Park and like all that shit. Not like, I have a whole song where I'm just singing with the guitarist, right? Like I want my shit to go in any direction and not really be like, oh, it has to be boxed in and be this. Like,
Yeah.
especially like, I'll show you some of the new songs I'm working on, and like, some of them are just different, they're wild, you know, and some of them are a little bit more in tune to what I would normally do.
We'll
But
get that Juice exclusive later.
yeah.
After
y'all will
the
hear.
show.
But
Wrong, but
Is that or is that the
I
clap?
did it.
hey, but I'm like currently working on 3 different projects, and one of them is my kind of sequel to the album that I put out, and then the other one is a project with V, that's more of like gonna be a collab tape, and then something else is, it's gonna be anonymous, like y'all won't know it's me, but you might know if you recognize the voice. But
Okay.
I'm working on something with my guitarist.
It's like J. Cole and Kill Edward.
Or like some alchemist in an old sweatshirt, or they put that like secret out.
Yeah.
Or
Sonder-
you know they're like barely
Sonder-
releasing it. They're barely
like
releasing
Sonder?
it.
I don't know who it is.
Sonder is Brent Fayez and
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Tell me what you heard. That song.
she was like, "This is my chance."
No. No, I was just playing. Y'all don't know how I sing. Y'all don't know.
But yeah,
We have you putting it down.
my guitarist does.
We all do.
Let's do it.
Yeah, my guitarist has really been wanting to make a band, and we really want a lot of anonymity to it, you know. So like, we don't want to show our face. We don't want
Hacker
to like.
mask.
Yeah, we'll probably have masks on or something. But I mean, I've
Actually,
performed in a mask a few times, like when I've done shows, which is cool because I
I
feel
would
like
rather do that.
I feel like I've set like I feel like I've inspired some people low key. You know what I'm saying? Like I've done shit and then I see them do shit on a tour and I'm like, cool, that's cool. I'm glad
Yeah.
you saw me do that and y'all did that.
But shout me out though.
But one thing, no, they'll never do that. But one thing I used to do, I think it was around like 2018, 2019, maybe even 2017. I'd perform in a Kane mask because shouts out Kane, that was like my favorite wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
And at first I performed in the classic 90s full-faced one. I found like somebody who was selling like the mask and shit. And I was like, this is dope. And then I did it and I tried to sing and it was like fucking terrible. Like, you can barely talk and shit, you know? So I had to like take it off like mid-set and be like, that sucked.
It's like Kanye when he's wearing the full like mask.
Yeah,
So
but
I
he has
take
like
it
cloth
off.
mask so you can hear him, right? This is leather in your face, right?
Damn.
And I can understand why probably the wrestler even like reduced the mask later on and then
Have an
took it off
oxygen
completely,
tank in
you
there.
know?
Yeah.
But
Rey Mysterio.
yeah, type shit. Yeah, have it half, like breathe, be able to breathe. But yeah, then I actually got the other mask, like he'd had like in 2003, where it was like kind of cut like that, and so I performed in that a couple of times. I love that mask, but yeah, I like the whole like weird aesthetic. You know, I fuck with that.
Yeah.
But and I think it just adds to like kind of like the mystery and production value of music. Right?
Like
So-
Sia, you know how she has her
Or like a
whole-
Daft
Yeah,
Punk.
her-
like
her
you
Daft
might not
Punk.
even know what her
I
face
think
looks
I think
like.
it makes people focus on what you're trying to do versus
Yeah,
you as a
yeah.
person. 'Cause,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
I think
Instead of being
like,
a celebrity.
Instead of being like, oh look how she looks fat today, she looks skinny
well, that's what
today.
it is.
Like,
Like,
Yeah.
like,
why isn't she wearing makeup? Like instead people
I think
don't do
people
those
focus
talks.
so much on what you do talent wise
Yeah.
based off your looks. So I think if you can separate that,
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. Like that's why I enjoy where it's like let's
That kind
separate the two.
of reminds me of like, so like to me my album Alien is a psychedelic album, right? Like to me
Definitely.
it's a psychedelic album, but I don't directly quote I'm on acid, I'm on DMT. I don't say these things on the
Right.
album
Yeah.
because like to me the most fucking craziest shit whenever I did shrooms or I've done acid or DMT, it was just like you feel so human. Like you feel so like you feel your spine, your emotions,
Like
you
you
feel
crave
grounded.
like crave the nature.
Yeah, like sit around a fire,
Yeah.
dude, like on shrooms
That's
or on
nature.
acid. Like you feel primal. You're like, oh my god, like my
Yeah.
ancestors did this. Like,
yeah.
But
and
that's
like,
what I was saying earlier. Like if you're doing that stuff and you're around nature, you feel good. But if you're not around nature and you're like on
yeah,
this technology stuff, you might feel bad. Like you might have a bad trip.
I feel
like-
goofy. I feel
yeah,
goofy.
it's
right?
like
I'll laugh
something's
because like
weird
straight
here.
lines don't exist, but so
Yeah.
much of our aesthetic is straight lines. But then when you're tripping, you're like, they don't make sense, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, like a lot of my experiences on psychedelics and stuff, like I learned my voice. I went to these things like, you know how they have like regional burns type of things. I went to this event called Tribal and we went to a few of those and like we would just perform. Like I would just sing and
Yeah.
like sing on my beats, freestyle.
While
I had a
tripping?
guitarist and yeah. And
Damn,
it was crazy.
that's
It was like probably one of the more like formative experiences I had, and especially in my sound, because there was a way I used to sing before that moment, and then I was on acid, and I was like, I remember we had a portable garage out in this fucking field in the middle of nowhere up in Gainesville in fucking Texas and shit, right? And like we just had a portable garage set up. We had like a guitarist's amp. I had an amp for my microphone. We had a drum kit behind us. And I just had another amp playing my beats that I made. Like I made a bunch of beats on Reason and shit. And so I was just playing those beats when guitarist, it's not my guitarist now, but like the dude who was just performing there, homie John, he was just jamming, you know. Then we had somebody on the drums who was just jamming, my homie Travis. And I was just singing, you know, and I was just vibing with the different shit. And my eyes were closed the whole time, you know, because I was just like,
record it?
no, nobody. This is some fucking underground shit, I guess, you know. But like I was just singing, and I was like learning my voice, and I was doing things, and I was like just putting my thoughts and like how I felt out there, and I was like, man, this is beautiful, you know. And like the whole time I had my eyes closed, and like I finally like opened them, and our whole portable garage was like filled with fucking people from the whole event, you know. They were just like crowded out, like watching us perform, like it was an actual show, like I wasn't just fucking around, right? But then I opened my eyes.
They felt your vibes, I'm pretty sure. If they're all tripping too, they're like,
when I was getting into
like
it, and I closed my eyes, there was like 3 people, you know. Then after that, like I opened my eyes, there was like 30 to 40 people chilling, watching, and I was just like, and I was just like, I don't know, like I remember like opening my eyes and just being caught off guard and being like, holy shit, what's up, y'all?
Yeah.
But it was cool. It was like a moment where I was like really in tune with like what music is and what's important about it. And like I think another thing is like the first time I heard Pink Floyd, I was on shrooms.
Oh shit.
And my homie showed the Live in Pompeii. And like I always had this like distinction of old music is not for me. You know, like I live in this era, I listen to this shit. I'm listening
I need
to
the
Kanye,
lyrics and
like,
I need all that
well,
stuff.
not even that. I need current vibes. Like they need to live the life the life I'm living, right? Not that I'm living their life, but like at least know the internet type shit,
It's
right?
way different when you hear it.
In a way.
Right, like you feel like it's out of your
I got
lifetime.
time travel. I gotta go back.
Right. No, so like
That's
what that shit is though. Like
Yeah.
because
It
like
literally
I
is.
heard Pink Floyd and like I was there. Like I got it. Like I knew it. Like all of a sudden time just melted and I was like, this is timeless music. Like this is connecting to human emotion beyond some shit, you know?
What is it, The Dark Side of the Moon?
Yeah.
I was about to say,
Dude, I did that shit freaking, I think it was acid, and I was out in the middle of a lake on a floaty, and I was just floating back and forth.
Yeah.
And then the song, I would like come closer to the music and then get further away, and oh my god, that was like the most beautiful experience.
So I went to a record shop, and it wasn't even a record shop. It was an antique shop in my hometown, and just a random ass
What?
weekend. I was like walked in.
What's it called?
It's the Red Horse. It used to be the Red Horse.
Oh, okay.
It's there no more. I don't know. But
You guys
Yeah.
did. You guys did the exact.
He's
same gesture
the
at the
alternate
exact same time.
universe. Like our drinks
Yeah.
are even like mirrored.
There's something happening. Is what I'm saying. Something.
The
But-
government. Okay, if we were tripping right now, we'd be like, what the fuck?
No, I've had some weird shit like that happen.
That's
on
what
my
I was
trips.
saying last time. I was like, the government. Like that kind
Oh, no,
of
like,
shit.
There was a moment I was on acid and me and
The
my
universe.
guitarist, like we mirrored each other. It was crazy. Like we were like doing the same exact thing at the same exact time for just like 3 seconds. And
Makes
we
you want to
and
throw
we
up,
literally,
doesn't
yeah,
it?
we literally looked away. We're like, what the fuck, you know? Like we're both tripping acid. But going back to like all the point of that is, I say it like Alien to me is a psychedelic album because it delves into human emotion.
Yeah.
It goes into that space. It's spacey.
I feel that.
And like I don't want to make it overtly like psychedelic. Like, oh, let me throw. You have to be on acid and this and this that. I feel because like I feel like true psychedelic.
That's why you
music,
don't put the mushrooms on the cover.
Yeah, the true psychedelic music I feel like hits everybody, right? Like it
Yeah.
hits the human emotion and spirit. So like
it depends on the moment too.
yeah, that too. That too.
I didn't like Pink Floyd I liked Pink Floyd, but only like a few songs until
right until
that
you really
moment, and then I was
understood
like,
it.
oh my god,
Yeah,
like I need
yeah.
to hear more of this.
Same. Like I heard "Wish You Were Here" before.
Yeah,
that.
or that
It
Money
was a
song.
beautiful song. Beautiful
I always
song.
hated that
That
Money
one's kind of
song.
wild.
That's like the
But
only
then
song
whenever
I've
you
heard,
hear it
sorry.
tripping,
Yeah.
it's like,
It makes sense.
like
It makes
you
sense.
just like see people marching, just spending their money and just like dying spending their money.
Yeah.
Well,
I
And
feel
there's-
like
There's so
Yeah.
much. No, there's so
the
much.
cash register sounds gets me.
There's
Yeah,
a movie about that.
yeah,
Break down the wall.
yeah.
The wall.
Definitely. The wall was
Or have y'all
intense.
seen that episode of Adventure Time where it's Finn and Jake trying to spend all that money in that one town? Have y'all seen that episode?
I haven't watched Adventure Time,
Oh,
but I'm also a product of like
shit.
my parents didn't have cable growing up, so
Oh,
like
I did that too.
yeah. So there's a lot of shit. It's so stupid. I was like, I was a kid and I'd just be watching broadcast television, right? And then like people
Yeah.
talk about SpongeBob. I'm like, man, that's cool. And in my head, I'm like, that's not gonna matter 10 years
I would
from
go
now,
to my
20
neighbor's
years
house
from
and watch
now. Now
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob's a whole fucking phenomenon with memes, and I don't
Yeah.
get them, bro.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
You should have
understand
gone
them.
to your neighbor's house. I grew up like that with no cable, but I would go to my neighbor's house.
Oh,
and
when I
she
went
had
there
Nick.
though, we watched like Naruto and shit. Like we watched like Naruto
Nickelodeon.
and different things. Like I watched like Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
That was okay. You went over there
Metalocalypse.
late then.
Yeah,
You went to
yeah.
your neighbor's house late. I went
Yeah.
early and was home early.
Yeah, we were doing
So-
the
That
best
was part of the
shit.
network though. That was like they were on the trippy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
But yeah, so I missed out on a whole era of shit. Just
But no,
because
it's
I was on
never too
broadcast
late to
television.
get it back because I've been rewatching SpongeBob and their jokes are like fucking hilarious. Like for
Okay.
adults. And I always rewatch Adventure Time because I'm not done with it.
Right.
It like after the third season it becomes really adult and there's like a lot of emotions to where you're like fuck like
Yeah.
I don't want to
Oh,
get
yeah.
to the point where Jake the dog dies because at some point he dies. I think in like season 9.
All right. Spoilers.
Sorry, spoiler, but
Damn. All right.
I have
I'm
not
like,
got to
fuck,
that point
That's
because
heavy.
I end at
Yeah,
season
but-
8 and I'm done there
Probably
because to
this
me
is-
like animals they're a big thing to me like in my life. And like animal spirits, like I just like love feeling them. Even if it's a cat walking by, like I like to see how it walks by, you know. So to me, to see the dog die, that like my favorite cartoon fucking dog in my life, that shit would be sad. Like
No, it's
I
terrible.
couldn't do it.
Yeah. That's
So I always stop at season 8, but I want to get through it because now they came out with like Distant Lands and some other Fiona and Cakes episodes. So
Okay.
you have to watch it.
Yeah. No, it's
You
something I
really
definitely
do.
want to check out. Like a lot of people I know like love that show.
Especially Trippin'.
Yeah.
Batteries in and out again. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. How long do the batteries last on that?
No, it was going like right when you were talking in between that.
Is that your design on that shirt?
No, this is a Kid Cudi merch shirt. It's not.
Shit.
It's not me.
No wonder it looked familiar. I was like,
No, this is from like his Intergalactic album.
Yeah.
That shirt's
Is it
called, like, Night
Indica?
Club.
Was it Indica? Whenever that album first came out, I didn't like it that much.
It was. Yeah, I mean, he self-produced it. It was pretty much just him with a bunch of features.
Yeah.
There's some hits on it. You know, I feel like Just What I Am was fun.
Yeah.
Um,
That was
yeah.
like the first.
I don't like fun. I
time-
like sad.
No. So that was like the first time we heard Cudi in a while too. It's
Yeah.
Like, he went on a whole hiatus. Like, I'm
7
like,
years
like,
almost.
I'm
So,
quitting.
I
I'm
feel
quitting
like-
smoking and
Yeah.
drinking. I'm like, what?
There's a lot behind that though.
Yeah.
There was like
that might have
it
been
was,
when he had his daughter. Too.
Yeah, no,
Oh, yeah,
straight
yeah,
up.
yeah,
he had his
yeah.
daughter, and then he was facing like court issues because there was like an incident where like he was caught with like cocaine and like he was breaking
yeah.
down his baby mama's door or some shit and broke her phone. So I'm sure he was going through court. So he had to like I feel like
But we forgive
WCRD
him.
was like an
Was it?
album to be like, hey, I'm good. Like because if you listen to Man on the Moon 2, he is explicitly stating all of his issues.
Right.
And I feel like that was
That's why
being
we
used
forgive
against
him.
him, right? Like I feel like if you're if his baby mom was trying to make a case against him, that album is a good reason to make a case
But
against
I feel like
him.
publicly, if you admit your issues, then people get over it, and then you're not like held to it for that long. You know?
Yeah, no, but I mean at the same time, it's like court. You know, it's not even about public opinion at that point. It's like legality.
Yeah.
And so he probably had to be clean for a bit to show like the judge, like, hey, I'm good to be in my daughter's life and shit.
Right. Which he is now too.
Yeah, which is awesome. But I mean, he got back to smoking and everything eventually. I
Got
think
any
Indica
refill?
was that era.
Refill?
Yes.
I do. But hey, probably should wrap this up too. Like, this
Before
shit
we
keeps
wrap
going.
it up, I do have one more question. So
Oh, are we still recording?
For you.
Yeah, we-
all
Been
yes,
recording.
Alright.
this will be my final question, I guess.
Okay.
So
but-
if you had to pick like one song that you made for everyone to listen to right now, what song would it be and why?
Shit.
So that we know what song to listen to.
That's tough. Cause like I said, like I feel like the album itself is like an experience. Like you start from the first track, it's kind of like this poppy, happy dance track, which is Dance Away the Day. And
Yeah.
I wanted it to be like a vibe set, like, hey, tune in. But then it starts getting real almost really immediately, right? Like it starts getting heavy within the next tracks.
Yeah.
So I would say to me, like the song that's most profound for me on that album is Summer's Dead. I think that's the song that hits me the hardest. But if I wanted to show a song to people that they would vibe with, or like, it's like a bop or something chill, I would say Nice Knowing You. because that's like a song. It's like wrong. It's like pardon me, I'm seeing things in the wrong way. Like I feel like that's like a nice little, and the beat's weird. Like it's not something that like when I was making all that music I produced myself, right?
Okay.
So when I was making that shit,
I feel like Brown Boy is the one that's a little bit different though on that album.
that's the one that sticks out like a sore thumb. But like I said,
Yeah.
it's because of the subject matter in it. It's like I talk about like the bars are on my lap. She's looking like that bitch from Seventh Heaven. She said, "Even though I'm 5'10", I make her 9'11".
Okay, I do remember those
Right,
lyrics.
and then
Yeah.
I say she's loving all my culture, all the wedding smoking hookah. Chicken tikka is her favorite after doing morning, and I do the yoga flame thing. That yoga flame thing is me though. That's not even a soundbite for Street Fighter. I fucking did that myself, and I was so proud. I sound exactly like Dawson. But like, I only added that in because Dawson was like the coolest brown motherfucker back in the day. Think about that shit. Like, we didn't have many representations of brown people. We had like Apu and like some other shit. But like, Dawson was kicking ass in like the fucking 80s and 90s, right? Like, he was a street fighter, even though he looked crazy. But like, yeah, so I had to show love to Dawson on that. But like, the whole lead up to it, weddings, hookah, chicken tikka, which is a British dish. All of it's like it has nothing to do with me.
I always thought
You know
that
what I'm
was an
saying? Like
Indian
none of that
dish.
shit has to do with me. But like so many people tie Indian culture or brown culture to me that it's like, oh, she loves all of this, but I don't give a shit about that. Because then immediately I start talking about Texas after that because I talk about like there's even like a polarization of Slim Thug line where it says when I hit the club. I literally say that in the song like when I hit the club, I say all my homies are high and we meditate. Like it's showing that like I am from Texas. You know what I'm saying? Like that whole like bar is about like you associate me with this shit. Let's flip it. I'm actually from Texas, and that's why it ends up with. And at the end of it, I say if I go back to Chambord, which is my mom's hometown, I'll be smoking weed. Like that's basically what I said. I'll be smoking marijuana because that's also a brown boy thing, right? Marijuana is it's a Spanish term, right? So like it's like. It was a culmination of a bunch of shit in one song, and that's why the song is so trappy. It's so loud and distorted because it's like shit I don't give a fuck about, and if I was gonna put a message about it, I want it to be the most obnoxious song on there, for that reason, because it's not something I don't care about. Everything else is handled differently on that album compared to that song, but it was just me being kind of like, okay, I'm an adult now, and I do get to talk shit, about all the shit I dealt with as a kid, and like. Even though I'm not directly talking shit to people, I'm doing it in a very satirical way. Like when I drop those bars, I don't mean like 9/11 was a good thing, or something. I just mean it's explosive, right? You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like that's what the bar means, and like, but at the same time, it's like I dealt with terrorist jokes my whole life, so like, if you're gonna be sensitive to that,
if you heard the beginning of this podcast, you understand.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
So and then the rest of the album is very mellow compared to that, or it's in a different vein. So yeah, like to me, like Nice Knowing You is a good bop. Summer's Dead's really emotional. Drunk Somewhere's good to listen to if you're drinking and shit.
Which we're always drinking.
Cheers to that. You know what I'm saying?
Cheers.
The Texas tap on that. But yeah. Overall, I just feel like it's a vibey album. I just want to let people know that I'm gonna be dropping some more shit soon. Probably it's gonna have that 4-week timeline right before I have anything to drop because of TuneCore and shit. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm really hyped about the music I'm dropping, and like for all the people that are looking out for it. So stay tuned. I don't want to like drag this on anymore because I know we're on like a little time limit.
You're good.
Yeah. So.
Well, was there anything else you had to say? Anybody else you had to shout out before we finish this?
Oh my God! If y'all want me to shout out my
shout out your whole paragraph.
Oh my, okay. Shout out to fucking VI 2 times. Shout out to Zen, my guitarist. He's the fucking god. Shout out to CJ Topoff. Shout out to fucking Dylan Elijah, Christian Wynn, everybody in the Crown. There's so many people, man. My heart's like overwhelmed. Like, oh shit, there's so many people. Blackmail, fucking, I can't even think of more people right now off the top of my head. But everybody that's ever done a show with me, who's ever fucked with me or rocked with me at a show, I love y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all are at my heart. Y'all are the reason why I fucking do this shit. Not even just y'all, but the fact that we get to like perform together and create a landscape. And everybody who's been to those shows and like rocked with us, like that shit's cool. Like, they're in the mud, like they heard
It's
shit
that
that like
vibe.
years before it ever dropped,
Yeah.
right? So I'll be throwing more shows here soon. I just wanted to take a break after dropping this album because there's just so much going into it. But yeah, there's more to come. Shit's not over yet. So
Well, did you have anything else, Dennis the Menace?
I love that name.
All right.
Yeah, no.
Iris the Vision.
Thank you for
also a
coming out.
dope
Also, thank you for supporting our like
Oh, no,
buying
bro,
merch
For
too.
real.
Yeah, no, dude.
saw
I wanted
that.
Bought a T-shirt.
I would have
like,
wore my T-shirt, but then I would have felt like I was like
I don't have a
trying to be a
t-shirt
host
on.
or some shit, you know. So I was like, let me not
I
wear
ran
this
out.
shirt.
I'm waiting
Yeah.
for more.
Yeah, but y'all go buy some merch. We got the hats.
Yeah,
Check it out. We
yeah.
got the Fulls hats.
The
we got
shirts.
the Juice OG
And the
shirt.
shirt's dope. The shirt's
Yeah.
great quality.
All those
straight up.
shirts.
I also got a koozie.
We got more shit coming out.
Hell
So
yeah.
stay tuned. But yeah, thank you for supporting, man. And thank
This
you,
has
Reeshi The
been
Alien.
the motherfucking
Juice. Let's go.
Yes.
Hey.
Cheers to that.
Yeah.
Let's go.
The juice.